Can you build an island into the biggest city on the map in Transport Fever 2? And since Transport Fever 3 just got announced, it's a good time to see just what the limits of Transport Fever 2 can really bring us. So to begin with, we're going on to a free game and we're going to generate ourselves a map. And we're going to give ourselves maximum islands here and see what happens. Alright, so something like this is looking pretty good already. And in case you're wondering, here's the seed if you want to try this out for yourself. So for this, I'm going to be turning all of my mods off. But I am going to turn on the deluxe content and the legacy vehicle resources, as well as sandbox mode in case we need to make some adjustments. I'm not going to be using it to cheat, but it is good to have that option available. Now, cargo supply, basically everything is going to be set back to default, and we're going to start with all vehicles enabled, because if I'm not using mods, this is a good option to have. But I will allow myself one mod, or one set of mods in particular, and that's for small aircraft fixes. And that just allows us to land some of these smaller planes that actually should be small planes. It allows them to land at the smaller airfields. And lastly, I will also be enabling these small airfields, as well as regional airports from Remigio. As for our starting year, we are going to start at 1900, and we're going to go up to 4 cargo types. So without further ado, let's begin. So we got a lot of islands to look at here. So I've been kind of drawn towards this town right here of Taoyuan, which I'm going to rename to Capital City. Now, of course, the real challenge is trying to connect this and let it grow. So let's have a look at what we're starting with here. So we have 192 residents. Traffic is very poor. Somehow. Not entirely sure how. And they need machines and goods. So we're already starting off on the back foot because those are some of the more difficult resources to put together, but we will make do. Now they have a lot of forests around them. Like, this is a kind of ridiculous amount of forests. And we do have planks, so we have something to start off with. We also have crude and oil. And we have a refinery in the middle of the town. We have a goods factory right here in the middle. So what I'm thinking is we can start with goods. Normally you don't do that. And also, since we're starting off with 10 million, I think we're going to need to maybe get some lines going to make some money first. And this is a pretty good place to start. We've got these 2 forests right here and a sawmill, so that's an easy way to make money right there. So I think I'm going to begin by just connecting this right here. I'm going to make a little truck station and just do one side for now. I was considering putting some modified stations in here, just modded stations that might look a little nicer. If you want me to do that, let me know down in the comments. But for the time being, I think this works out quite well. So what we're going to do here is, I'm actually going to put another street access right here. And then we should be able to connect that up there. Put the road depot nearby. So this is as short of a line as we can possibly get. So this line right here. And we're going to set that to also use platform number 2 to unload. So that'll hopefully make it a little bit more efficient. Now the reason I wanted to start with 1900 is we have more options as far as vehicles go. So this actually has a capacity of 5 compared to the 4 here. And it has more power. So if you're going on a sort of hilly area, this actually might be better. Yeah, I think we're probably going to go with the European one or the American one. And just start with 4 of them. And I'm just going to assign them to line 1 here. Which we're also going to rename to Capital City, so CC for that, and logs number 1. So this is just going to be what brings us in a little bit of money. What's really interesting is that these industries are so close together that this is in the catchment of not only the sawmill, but also the other truck station. Like, it's literally walking distance. But just like with trains, the length of the road vehicle actually matters, because it will actually affect how many of them you can fit on the platform. Because something about the default station is they always go to the center platform and not to the end. So you have this area for queuing and not the entire length of it, which is a little bit annoying. Now you can sort of fix it by extending the platform this way and then deleting those down there. So this is the centerpiece here, but it kind of doesn't really help. So I'm just going to do that, and we're also going to just put a cargo building at the end there. And while this is happening, I'm going to slow our speed down to a quarter. So not game speed, but date speed. So that will slow down the new vehicles coming out while we plan the rest of our trips. So obviously something that would be good to do, because we have the industries here, would be the crude oil to fuel. Now the crude oil to refined oil would get us that plastic, but we've got to find a plastics... Yeah, the chemical plant right here in Hanoi is all the way across the ocean. Now, given that this is 1900 and we don't have aircraft yet, we are going to have to use ships. Ships are honestly the bane of my existence a lot of the time because of how slow they are. We'll just place down one of these ship depots so we can have a look at that. I'm going to place it really far away for now, so we can just have a look at these ships. So cargo ships are what we're interested in. Although, yeah, I think it's the only the Frontenac here is the only dedicated passenger ship that's available. Funnily enough, the Frontenac, I believe, was a brand of Canadian car that was just, like, made for a very short period of time. I think that's right. Yeah, just looking at the speeds of all of them, I'm going to be sorted by top speed. What's our fastest? The Klondike of 30 kilometers an hour for 189,000 a year. It's not great, but I think what we're probably going to end up doing is either the Wilhelm or the Riggy, but it is the slowest. The Donara Castle's not bad too. But yeah, running costs are an issue, so I think we are going to start small. So what I'm thinking here is, just to avoid the ship running empty, because that is a lot of cost, I'm just looking for any crude oil that's sort of within the same area. This is close, but we got to go around the island to do it. So if we bring the crude oil here, to the refined oil here, but it is a 2-to-1 ratio. So if we bring 100 oil here, crude here, we're only going to get 50 oil out of that. And from that, then we get 50 plastic out of that. So regardless, it is going to be half full coming back every time. Right, let's build this dock. Okay, so the cost is going to be around... Oh geez, that is not great placement. It's actually not even connecting with it at all. So I'm going to have to draw a road down. But I think we're going to go with a large dock, just so we're a little bit future-proof. It is very expensive. Like, look at the size difference, right? That's 250,000. That there is 700,000. But I do want that future-proofing. You know what? I think we're just going to stick with the small. We're going to go with small for now. 250,000 is okay. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Got to put the dock down. Yeah, we're going to need roads. Okay, hopefully that's within the catchment area. Yes, it is. And we shall do the same thing over here. So if I set that line up now, this will be to bring oil and plastic back. So this will be capital city, oil, plastic, number 1. Now right now this is doing nothing, because we need to supply this with crude oil. So that's got to have to come over from here. Now the tricky part about this is it's on another island. So I think the only thing we can really do, yeah, we're going to have to draw a bridge across it. So let's do that. So that's not great as far as bridges go. It's quite expensive to do bridges. That's not bad, actually. It is blocking the waterway, though, and I'm not sure if I want to do that. Let's see if I can... If I do that, we've got a little bit of navigable waterway. Yeah, that's a good trade-off right there. Very expensive, though. I'm going to make ourselves a nice curvy road coming down this way. Can I get it curvier than that? Yeah, that's alright. So the general idea is we're going to use trucks to bring crude all the way over to here. And then any excess oil is going to be brought over here to make fuel. And then we shall figure out what to do with the fuel later on. I can already see Kuala Lumpur over here wants fuel. So that's another possible thing to do. Also, Nur Sultan over here is looking for fuel as well. So that is definitely possible. Right, before we get too ahead of ourselves though, let's get this truck station set up. So we're gonna go with a 30-meter platform and probably only one. One platform here, I think is fine. I don't really want to put road depots everywhere, but I think we need them at this point. And I do need a depot over here as well. Alright, and that is that line ready to go. So we'll set that up. So crude to oil to fuel. And then back again. So it's only this distance here that's not being paid, which I think is good. Now, of course, to do that, we have a few options. Now, given that this is a longer distance, I don't really want to use horse-drawn carriages for that. And we've got the NW First truck. So that's a diesel truck there. They are quite expensive though. Meanwhile, the first truck has a capacity of 6 and it's 6,000 to run. I think the first truck is the winner. It's a little slower, but it's a lot cheaper to run. So I think we're gonna go with that. We're gonna start off with 6. And I'm just gonna color them black. They're carrying oil, so, you know, in case they get dirty, well, I guess in this case, if their roofs get dirty, it's not like you're gonna notice. I do love that this game lets you recolor them. And so one of the main reasons I really love Transport Fever, just the sheer detail. I mean, for that matter, let's just see when they drive away. Alright, we'll follow this truck right here. Alright, you should be fully loaded. Are you moving? There we go. Now we're on our way. So yeah, the little wheels turn. I don't mean spin, they actually steer. And some of the later trucks even have turn signals that they use. These are the little details that if you play this game, or any game like this, you're not really always zooming in to look at it like that. You're most of the time playing from up here. I will admit though, the horses look a little odd when they move. They're a little bit odd. Right, so our crude line is definitely well established. I think the lack of power on these little trucks, yeah, they don't have a lot of power. It is a bit of an issue because we have such a high bridge. I was kind of concerned about that, maybe lowering the bridge just a little bit, just so they don't struggle as much. But then, you know, losing 5 kilometers an hour versus, you know, $1,000 a year more per truck. I don't know if that's a good trade-off. I can't really do the math on that, so I don't know if it's a good trade-off. I've just noticed something over here. I think if we extend that out just a little bit, just there. Let's check the line. Yep, it's gonna go up that way. That's just so it avoids these residential buildings down here, which will affect the emissions. There's a lot of residential buildings that it is going to drive down. And this road network is not the best, but I think it'll be fine. I think we'll manage. If we start transporting fuel over to Nur Sultan over here with a truck, I could actually have these trucks over here transport the fuel back to here. Then they get paid every single way. And then whatever truck picks up the fuel here, that's the only one that's, you know, not being paid coming back. But that would be a good line to have because the goods are definitely going to go that way too. See, we're thinking about things. Definitely thinking about things. So one of the downsides of having a island city like this, they don't have any destinations connected at all. So all of these don't natively exist. So if you set up a bus line, it's just on this island. It's not going to go anywhere else until you connect things. So that is a tricky one. And without planes, I don't know how we're going to get people to and from. I think we're going to have to rely on some of these coastal cities like Kabul and Rawalpindi over here and Hanoi. I think Hanoi is probably going to be our first destination because it's that much closer. But yeah, we're going to have to use ships. Right, let's start our ship. So we are looking for a small ship and we want it to be carrying cargo. So we've got only 2 options here. We've got the Riggy and we've got the Wilhelm. Only 3 kilometers an hour difference in speed. No difference at all in capacity, but look at the running cost. It just begs the question, why would you use the Riggy then? So we're going to buy ourselves a Wilhelm, and we're going to put that on our oil and plastic line. And that should start outputting oil right to this port right here. So I think it's time we expanded our station a little bit. I'm going to just extend this out some more. And we're going to put another platform on the other side. That's a good idea. The simple reason that you can actually set it up so that they load from a different platform if need be. So that will hopefully help us out a little bit here because yeah, these are small capacity trucks, but they're not fast to load. I think their loading speed is only 1 times. Right, we're going to leave that to run because there is something else we need to think about here. This goods factory also needs steel. And that is a tricky one because the steel mill might be right here, which is not bad. We can get steel in through the same port over here, and it's a short distance relatively. And then I can use these trucks, or at least get a truck line to go and bring them over here. Or I could even set up a different port right here and just deliver it straight there. That's doable. The question comes of where the ore and the coal are going to come from, because there's coal here, but where's the iron ore? Kuala Lumpur has a lot. Okay, so it is not that far, but it... This is a mess. Kuala Lumpur is kind of surrounded by mines to a frankly scary degree. So, okay, we can bring iron ore down from there, but that is a long way to go. You know, that is quite a long way. Alternatively, there's coal and iron ore right here. So I could just ship the steel out and bring it down here. So the steel would have to come all the way down right here. So I think a second port, maybe, down this way. So that would be a connection right there. That could work. Can I put a port down here? I would have to use a road connection, but I think it's possible. Yeah, I think that's the way we're going to have to do it. Alright, so I'll put the port down over here first. It looks pretty good. And we'll put one down over here. I'll just connect that up with a road. So I'm thinking, if we connect all this up over here, could have some short distance trucks going. Oh, I might even be able to do one truck. So let's do 3 platforms. Yeah, just one truck station just here. All the way over to this one down here. I think that will work. It's a very short distance. We're already halfway through our cache as well, so that's getting a little bit sketchy. I think we can do this. Alright, so this is Kuala Lumpur, so that's KL. The NW first truck is still going to be the winner. And make them bright orange. Because why not? I've also got to set this line up to use the other stops. And that way they'll be able to load more. It does make them kind of look like fire trucks. With the orange. It is adorable though. Alright, is anybody going to use the other platform? Nope, they're going to jam up here for now. Right, where is my plastic ship? Did you actually load anything? No, you still haven't loaded anything. There's a bit of a problem. We're not getting enough oil out. Alright, this needs another unloading platform, so we're going to do that. I'm just trying to make this move a little bit faster. Or rather, trying to compensate for the fact that it's not moving fast. Alright, so Capital City now is struggling because we have a lot of emissions, shall we say. It is causing residents to leave. Not sure how they're leaving. Might be swimming away. So what we could potentially do to give ourselves that little bit of boost, and this is a bit of a risk, but if we extend this out this way, this is the shortest distance across right here. Let's just reduce that height just a little bit. It's not great. Just, bridges are so expensive. But what I'm gonna do here, I'm just connecting these 2 cities together. So Capital City will be connected to Nur Sultan over here. And that will allow us to supply it with fuel. So what I need to do also is move this depot somewhere a little bit more useful. So I'm going to put it over here. And the reason is I'm going to extend this platform out this way. And we need a matching truck platform over here. So I need to see where all of the fuel stops are. I'm thinking we could just do an unload stop somewhere here so that we have an easy way in and out. Yeah, I think that's good. So this is going to supply fuel over here. So what should happen now is these guys will start bringing fuel back. We should start seeing fuel on this line. So I'm going to put a couple of can stats on there. And they're just going to supply fuel. And the reason I'm doing that is for one very simple thing. Because now we've created a connection. You can actually see there are people going to Nur Sultan. So if I put a bus route here, capital city, and then a connecting bus station over there should actually be people going here, which will grow the population. I'm not going to do that just yet because we are starting to run low on money. We have steel coming up here though, which is good. We got steel. Now unfortunately these are trucks, so they only have a single compartment to carry things in, so they can't mix them up. So if it takes ore, it's got to take only ore. Although, we could do a tram. So we have some options here of trams. The issue is these are all passenger trams. So that's not really going to work out well for us. There is a mod that converts some of them to be cargo trams, which is very, very useful. Having a nice little light rail tram cargo network is very, very nice. So if you want to see me use that, let me know down in the comments. I'm trying to keep this as vanilla as possible, but of course, modding is part of Transport Fever. So if you have any mods you want me to add into the game that might make things a little easier, harder, interesting, feel free to let me know about it down in the comments. Alright, Taoyuan Fuel Refinery is now reading Nur Sultan as a customer or consumer. Not a lot of consumption going on. It will actually eventually start shipping them out there. So these two trucks down here aren't really doing much right now, but they will eventually. Alright, it's been a little while and our ship is finally making its way. Kind of a slightly bizarre way of getting under that bridge. It's going full steam ahead all the way to the port of Kuala Lumpur, where there's a lot of steel waiting. And something I've just realized, and why this ship is not making any money. Some of you may have already noticed it. It's because the factory that accepts chemicals or plastic is not actually connected to the line. So what might fix that is adding this as a station. Which I don't know why I didn't think of that before, because there was no actual connection. But I have noticed it now. So you know, we learn. Okay, we may have a slight issue here. So even though this should technically be supplying the Hanoi chemical plant right here, it doesn't have enough crude oil making it. The trucks just simply aren't good enough. I don't want to do it, but I think I might actually need to put a ship here. Or use a train. And trains are a little expensive. I think that might wipe me out completely. Whereas a ship might not. Let's just see where I can put this port. Maybe I can put it up here. Because the good thing about the ships is you don't have to put any other infrastructure in. Because it's not bringing oil back. Although it could bring fuel back. No, we're going to have to restructure this. I think these distances are too long. So what we're going to need to do is reconfigure this truck stop right here. And I'm going to create a new line that just does oil and fuel. And then our crude oil line will be just crude. No, this should be crude and fuel. We get 6 trucks. We're going to make them purple. And I'm going to put them on the oil and fuel line. And then the crude and fuel line, I'm going to manage that line. And what we're simply going to do is take out Capital City West completely. So that line, that looks a lot neater. So that should also increase the frequency that we pick up the crude oil too. And while that's going on, I'm going to add our ship. And that's really just going to improve how much we're supplying this, because this is a 2-to-1, don't forget. So at least half the time those trucks are going to be empty. It makes sense in my head. I'm not sure if that math is adding up. Yeah, we're down to 2.3 million. It's starting to get a bit sketchy. Yeah, this is still not picking up Hanoi as a valid target. I figured it out. It just begs the question, why would you use the Riggy then? I know some people are going to have been shouting at me in the comments, but the Wilhelm cannot carry liquid items. It can only carry plastic. And so now finally, it should be picking this up. Alright, hopefully that pulls us out of this nosedive just a little bit. It's a good thing I didn't start doing the buses yet. Alright, we're just waiting on these here to start dropping the crude off. We have one load of it already here. So our little purple trucks are now going to join the little black trucks that are going to go back and forth. Alright, we've got a fair amount of people going to Nur Sultan now. So if I do set that bus up, it'll actually be quite good. This is where I think we may need a tram. Not because trams are like significantly faster, although some of them are. Because they would just have to go from depot to depot, back and forth. And then I have a little bus line that goes inside here. Well, a road like this, there's only 2 lanes. That is a bit of an issue. So we are going to have traffic right here. But after that, it's fine. So maybe upgrading this to a 4-lane might actually work. Oh, look at that. We have a ship coming in. I'm gonna follow it. The Riggy carrying crude oil. It's a very pretty game. And actually, our frequency will improve with this particular ship because it's 3 kilometers an hour faster. There's actually oil. Yeah, those greenish looking barrels, those are oil. And it's making money for the first time. Alright, be on your way. I gotta say, the water in this game looks so nice. Seriously. It's a pretty game. It's a really pretty game. Was ist das? Oh, what's that? Did you just translate what I said? What's that? But yes, das ist bear. So that means this ship, which has now lost $80,000, can finally pick up some oil. How much have we got? We got 18. It's not great, but it's a start. There's a lot of crude waiting to be transferred over. Oh, I see what the issue is. They're all queuing up on the same terminal. That's not... No, don't do that. Can we just sort by that? Yeah, that there. Okay, so you should be on the other terminal. There we go. That should hopefully ease the congestion. Alright, so this one's loaded up with a little bit of fuel. We got oil coming back. We do! The purple truck's got some oil. It's only 3, but I did say they would be half full. Oh, you've got fuel going as well. There we go. Yeah, things are coming along. Alright, it's time to start thinking about goods distribution. The final step of this journey. We have just a truck here, and we're probably going to need an unload stop. So good thing, the goods are really, really close to the factory here. And a stop right here would basically do all of that. So we don't even have to worry about that. Now, there is a slight issue. We do have to remove some buildings, unfortunately. But this would bring us back all the way back to the factory here. So this is our goods distribution line. We'll leave it at 3 minutes because we're bringing in stuff by ship, so I mean, it is going to take a while. But steel supply is coming, and the plastic supply is soon to be coming. So once that goes, I think we can start purchasing our vehicles. Oh, that's a nearly full ship as well with steel. Look at it. It's got a cannon on it, I've just noticed. Yep, gotta watch out for those pirates. When I look at an island like this, though, it makes me think more of like Southeast Asia. But at the same time, with the water like this, it could be the Caribbean. I don't know, what do you guys think? This is one of the few vehicles in the game that even at maximum speed still looks like it's moving at normal speed. You're gonna hear me say it a lot, ships are slow. But on an island map, it is your only option. Right, we finally have oil going, 27 out of 35. This does have 2 compartments, the 35 units each, so it's the front and rear of the ship. It's really nicely represented, by the way. And it makes sense too that this is only 35, because some of it is going to be making fuel. And with a 2-to-1 ratio, logically that means we need 2 ships. I just don't really know if I want to spend that money right now. As soon as we have the first shipment of plastic here, because we already have steel stored away, as soon as the first shipment of plastic comes in, we can finally start delivering goods. And we're gonna finally be able to see how much difference that makes. But one thing that is good to see is an entire balance sheet, mostly, that is blue. So if it wasn't for a couple of early mistakes, I think we might be off to a pretty good start.